Today's episode is sponsored by Fender Guitars. Drink up! It's Fender time! I've heard it said, if it ain't broke, don't be fixing it. Fender. Spend decades of your life looking within. Fender. Always hold your Fender, making an impossible chord with your fretting hand. When in doubt, Fender. Today I'm talking to Flynt Flossy. I discovered Flynt Flossy and Turquoise Jeep Records from a friend who forwarded me a link to Stretchy Pants. It was like, dude, is this for real? You need to see this. And I saw it, and it challenged me. I found myself laughing to myself. I couldn't put it into a box of any kind. I had nothing to define it against. And if you can do that, then I respect you. So as time went on, we needed someone to help direct a video for us for our song Sure and Certain from our Integrity Blues record. And I thought, Flynt Flossy, let's see what he can do. What Flynt Flossy and his projects do and what I do are different for sure. But there is a shared foundation of why we're both doing it that I think we really relate to each other on that level. My conversation with Flynt Flossy happened July 10th of 2020.
All right. Let's do this. And little pat me down. Woo! It's kind of hot where I'm at. You know
a little
what I'm
blotting. Yeah.
A little blotting, no big deal. All right.
How's it going?
Working hard, Jim. Working hard, man. How about yourself, man? You look good.
Oh, thanks. You too, man. I've been surprisingly very busy. For everything getting canceled, I'm surprisingly very busy.
Dude, tell me this whole thing isn't crazy.
It's unprecedented in my lifetime, for sure.
Right.
I mean, I guess it's not unique to history, but it's definitely like something I never thought would happen.
It's nuts, man. But it's one of those situations where you just go with the flow, man.
Yeah,
that's all you can do, really.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's I've really tried hard to look at the situation for the opportunities,
right,
instead of what's been taken away.
Right.
Because you're gonna go. It doesn't help anything.
Because it's more like a situation, where people could concentrate on creating and the finer things. Because I think this put things in perspective for a lot of people. They're like, wait a minute, I was neglecting this, or I was neglecting that. You know what I mean? So it's like he gives you more time to really sit down and think. Yeah, that was important. Let me get to that.
Yeah, it's definitely not all bad.
It's not. You can't look at it that way, Hey.
No, you can't. I mean, you might not be 100% productive like you want to be, but there's always something you can do. There's always there's always woodshedding you can do. Maybe you're not creating. You're not creating, but you can be conditioning yourself so that when you are inspired to create something, it just comes together more easily. I don't know, fundamental, go back to the fundamentals of something that you've been neglecting and get a little bit better at that. It might not be the ultimate thing that drives you, but it'll push you forward. And maybe that momentum will drive you into something that's inspired.
This is true. Hey, you speak the truth. You speak the truth, Jim. You speak the truth.
I read your book.
You read it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
Hey.
No, it's great.
I'm honored, man. Thank you so much.
No,
I really appreciate the love, man.
It's super cool. You know, it makes me think about like when I was a kid, there was that like initial like kind of discovery moment of
Right.
For me, it was playing guitar. Like you play, you feel something, you don't quite understand it, but
Right.
then you make something real from that feeling, and it just flows, and it's an incredible reward.
Right.
And it sounds like for you that was dance. It was the first discipline that like
Definitely.
you feel something and you make it happen, and then it's like, whoa, you know, I just made that happen. Like, what is this? And you're
Right,
and you
right,
get hooked.
yeah.
You get hooked on that, man. And then I mean, here I am, like I don't know, like 30 years later, chasing that.
It's one of those things you can't explain. You know, when you have that passion, that drive, it's like you can only really relate. People that you gravitate towards people that understand that passion, how cathartic it is, just to be like when I used to just dance in my room, like that was just my therapy for a long time. It was just like, and then doing talent shows and dancing in the streets in high school. Like I used to be that dude in the hallway, just start gliding down the doing school,
Yeah.
gliding down the hallway for no reason.
You probably didn't even realize you were doing it either. You're just like
I did.
you're just thinking, and then it happens.
Right. I knew some of the ladies were watching, so
Yeah, you can definitely turn it up when you want to.
Right, exactly. So definitely a blessing, man. I can't complain about that. I always had the mindset, it's like, hey, if you got a talent, if you have a passion, you only put it to waste if you don't go for the gusto.
I mean, because you have that discipline as a background, and also because you have like film as a discipline in the background, like those elements are probably, they're all connected. And in music too, it's like it's all somewhat connected when you're crafting something from the ground up. Mm-hmm. You're probably also thinking in your head about like 3 steps ahead in maybe some other discipline.
You're right.
Like maybe like you make a choice on you make a musical choice, or you make a choreography choice, or you make a film, like a filming choice. Well, probably filming choice is probably last. There's probably not a whole lot of going back and tinkering with the music if you're at the filming stage. But you probably think about, well, 2 steps down the line, this is going to look like this. So I'm going to make the music sound this way.
Exactly. Like a lot of times what I'll do is I'll literally like edit in my head. Like there'll be so many things going on simultaneously. It's like, especially when I'm writing a song, say cavities or whatever it may be, and I'm literally thinking like, okay, boom. Oh yeah. Right there. When this hook come, oh, this color's gonna come in, or I'm gonna edit it this way. I'm gonna shoot it this way. And then when I'm shooting, I'm thinking how I'm gonna edit it. You know what I mean? So I'm always kind of like a step ahead with it.
I've been trying to learn more about video.
Dude, tell you, Jim, dude, once you get into it, it's like a bug. It
is. And I think that you've kind of capitalized on something. There's like this trend that's been building and building and building. And since large gatherings have been off the table for a while, I think this trend is accelerated. It's like if there's not a video component to what you're doing, it's almost like it doesn't exist.
So true.
Like
that is so
like sharing
true.
Like just music is cool. That's great. Awesome. But the reality is if there's not some kind of engagement in a visual way to go with that, it's going to have a harder time finding the right people that might like it.
That's true. And a lot of times some people see first and hear later. I heard situations, like times people be like, yo, I like the song when I seen the video, you know what I mean? Or even vice versa, so.
Well, if something looks cool enough, you'll watch it a few times And then that'll just
Right.
kind of sink into your subconscious, and you're like, oh yeah. Like you notice yourself
exactly.
singing later on the thing that you watched.
Good thing. But you know what's crazy? I was speaking to somebody the other day about that too, how you mentioned that. They were like, dude, you was making, you like really, you know, was early making a video for every song. And I was like, oh yeah, definitely. And I think that comes from like having a film background as well, you know. So sometimes I feel incomplete if I do I do a song and I don't have a visual to it. I feel like, nah, I get the itch, Jim. I gotta.
Right. Well, I mean,
Right,
is that more or less how you started doing music? Is because you wanted something to film? Like you were like, I could do this. I want to get serious about music because I have all this I can bring to it, like the dance and the filming aspect of it.
I was directing a lot of independent artists' videos, so I was shooting a lot of music videos, and I was always a music head, you know, from since I was a kid. You know, I'm like a jukebox. I know like every song, you know, that came out in 1990. That's
right.
by this, you know what I mean? So I've always had that music aspect, but when I started doing people's music videos and things of that nature, I was like, okay, I could do this for myself if I wanted to, me and and my people. So I was like, and then that's why I was able to, you know, the turnaround was fast because it was like, I'm gonna shoot it, I'm gonna record it, shoot it, record it, shoot it. You know what I'm saying? Edit it, put it out. Record it, shoot it, edit, put it out. So it was like, how you come on me? Because essentially, you know, I was doing it for other people. You know what I mean? So I was like,
right.
let me just, yeah. So that's a good point. Yeah.
You had no learning curve when it came to like the visual side of it. That was already down.
Yeah, for the most part, you know, I'm always thinking like, I'm always learning, because I did learn a lot of stuff on the way, you know, but for the most part, yeah, I was, you know, pretty much seasoned in a sense, you know, but I'm the kind of person where, you know, I'm humble enough to be like, listen, I'm always a student, you know, I'm never going to be like, oh, I got that, I know everything. Like, no.
Oh yeah, totally.
You have I'm always like,
how boring would that be? You know, like, I don't need
right.
to. I got this.
Right.
This is a you know, how boring.
Because it's crazy how good people get to a certain point. They get to a certain level and they feel like they don't need to learn anymore. You know, like the best teachers are usually the best students. You know, so it's like people get to that point where they don't want to hear opinions. They don't want to hear nothing. You know, and at the end of the day, even when I'm making music, I'm gonna consult my people. Like, what you think about how you like this sound? Whatever. Because at the end of the day, everyone outside of you is the audience. So it's like, it's only right.
Yeah.
You know?
Does this play like I think it does? Or am I totally wrong?
Right.
Am I totally wrong? You do need those trusted filters to run those ideas by. I mean, like for me, I have like the 3 other guys in the band as like the first layer of is my idea as good as I think it is, or am I out of my mind?
Right.
Usually, because you have to feel like you're a little bit out of your mind, I think.
Right.
Like you have to be just pushing it like this far, at least this far beyond what you're comfortable with. Otherwise, you're not growing. There's no opportunity for growth there.
That's true.
Like I find if I'm not laughing a little bit at what I'm doing, I'm not there yet. Like that sort of giggling to yourself, like, can I really do this? Nah, yeah, I should do this. It's cool though.
Right.
Like then I know I'm on the right track. If I'm
like a lot of times I know if I get this look, like, huh? I mean, all right, I'm on the right track. I'm on the right track. Like,
well, yeah,
what?
man. Because I think like as far as hooks go, you have like there's different categories for hooks. There is instantly something that evokes a sense of melancholy. You're like, it's just like, oh, and then there's like a burst of yeah, yeah, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then there's like jump scares, but then I think the most powerful one is when you present somebody that with something that forces them to like they're searching through their mind of references of how to take this in, and they can't find anything.
You right. That's a good point.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, that's the most powerful hook there is, I think, is when you put something in front of somebody and they don't have anything to compare it to. They're not sure. Like, they have to think about it for a second. Like, it challenges them to the core of like, wait, what am I watching here? I gotta see this again. Like,
right. And that's once that replay factor is key.
Yeah, because like I said before, then you've heard the song a couple times. You force somebody to work through something within themselves,
right?
And that's the essence of music itself. For me, is you're presenting people with this thing, but it's really up to them,
right?
What they make of it. That's what's going to be special. And if you can present somebody with something that's challenging right off the bat, then they've kind of invested themselves after like the second or third time to check it out, just to figure it out for themselves.
Right.
And it's instantly a little bit more special. Right.
Now you hit it on the money, man. You hit it on the nose. Do you ever, like, when you're writing, do you get that tingly feeling when it's a hit? Like, do you feel in your gut like, okay, this is a hit, or is it more so like I'm just creating, putting it out there, and you're like surprised?
That's a hard question, because I've sort of for me, I feel like everything I do is a hit.
Right.
Like,
right.
Of course, not everything is going to be a hit for real.
Right.
Like, I don't know how many people are going to agree with me. That game I really don't get into. Like, oh, everybody's going to love this, because I don't.
Oh, no, you can't. You cannot.
But for me, you have to nail that for yourself. Like, if you're
right.
If you're not stoked about it and want to hear it a million times, I don't know how you could expect anybody else to really follow along with that.
Yeah, like a lot of times when I get that tingly feeling is when I forget I had anything to do with the song.
Yes. Yeah.
That when you hear, it's like, you just literally like, ooh, this thing is rocky. Like, wait a minute. That is me, isn't it? Huh?
Right. Yeah. You've completely switched perspectives to just being a listener instead of behind the scenes, but like tweaking on sounds,
right?
Like sweating over lyrics, but like it's so uncomfortable, it's so hard.
Hearing every kind of click popping noise, like friend, my team, my bros, man, they make fun of me all the time. They say, man, you got some sonar ears, you got some bat ears, because sometimes I'll hear something like, hold on, I heard a little pop. At 122, I heard a little pop, man. We gotta take that pop out. It's like, what are you talking about? And they'll zoom in, like, oh, it was a pop. Like, how you hear this craziness, all right? So
when we're working on things like drums, when we're recording drums for real, I always have like the big bar counter as a display, so I can see like what's happening, if I can remember. Okay, yeah, that happened there. We need like stop, zoom in. I totally do that too.
You can't help but that's what makes you great, you know? Like, you are great, Jim. You are great.
Oh, shucks. Thanks, man. But no, I do that too. I obsess about, like, I'll comb through everything and make sure that all the edits are clean.
Right.
Because I hear that later on, and it could have everything else like overdubbed on top of it, and I'll still hear like a pop between, like, if a snare drum edit is just off a little bit and you catch the poking of it, like,
and it drives you insane. It'll drive you insane, man. That's why much love to my engineers, man, because they're so patient with me.
You put them through the ringers.
Right. They're so patient, but they know it's. I have the best intentions, man. I'm always, come on, hey man. So I kind of heard a pop at 305.
Like, you don't want to make them mad or anything, but hey man, zoom in right here.
Right,
I know. I just said this 6 times already. I mean, in parentheses, but I was right all 6 times. Could you just zoom in again, like right here? You know, I thought I heard something.
Just right that little button right there, because once it's out, it's out. Like the audience is not gonna say, "Oh, well, they weren't pressed for time, so that's why that was kind of off." You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, I mean that's definitely the worst kind of sell. It's sort of like, yeah, we did this. It was okay. We were sort of in a hurry.
Right.
I know it's not the best, but we were kind of in a hurry. We did, here you go. Like no one wants to hear that.
Exactly. So that's how I operate, and we all pretty much operate that way. And because I'm when it comes to that, I'm very, I'm very on point with that. Just like, I know once this is out and the world hears it and there's no taking it back.
Right.
There's no going back. So you gotta, at least to the point, perfect to the point where you can listen to it and be at ease. You'd be like, all right, that little click, nobody's gonna hear that little click. All right, I can let that slide. You know what I mean? I can get over it. But,
right.
Yeah.
If it's like a human fluctuation, like you can't straighten out all of those. Otherwise, it's not.
Right.
There's no character. You might as well be making like, like cartoon EDM or something.
Right.
It's just all about the roboticness of it. I mean,
right.
There's a place for that for sure. But I think like the expressiveness of flaws, like you can't straighten them all out. There's some things
because you're right. Yeah.
There's some things that feel unintentional. Mm-hmm. And like those are the ones you need to straighten out. But like a vocal performance having a little bit of grit to it, or a little bit of like fishing around for something, or swooping in to like the technically wrong but just feels good. Like you gotta use your ears at the end of the day and make that choice.
Nah, definitely, because a lot of times people will, if you're too much of a perfectionist, it's kind of like that someone's going for a riff, a singer's going for a riff, and they have that little crack in the voice that kind of shows that you feel that the audience, the listener's going to feel that emotion. They're going to feel that pain, they're going to feel that emotion. So you want to leave that in, but technically it's like, all right, we got to fix this, but nah, leave that in, leave that little crack in,
right?
Leave that little, still kind of off, but you feel that pain. You feel that pain in that riff, so you leave it in, saying that's what you have to sometimes come to terms with, and find that balance. It's all about balance.
Right. If I'm comping vocals, I'll go for the performance with a little bit of grit in it over something clean any day.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because
you can like crank down pitchiness, but you can't add human, like, gusto. Would that be the right word for it? You can't add that. There's no setting. There's no plug-in setting to turn up humanness.
Turn up the gusto. More gusto, please. Yeah, I know exactly.
Gusto 211.
I know, yeah, exactly. So yeah, that makes complete sense.
Do the people that you collaborate sort of defer to your vision? Do you feel like you're driving the ship when you're working there, or is it like a song by song kind of thing?
Maybe it's a song, but me personally, I feel like it's a song by song kind of thing. Like I'll just, but some people may think it's, me driving the ship, So but me personally, I go into it like I go into it mentally by song, If I'm working on a project, of course I think a couple songs ahead, and I'll tell the team or present it to the team like, boom, this is what I'm thinking, or this is the hook I wrote, this is the melody I'm thinking, and then go from there. I'm one of those, I guess I'm artsy in a sense when it comes to that. In regards to that, I go with the flow with that, but some people may refer to it as, me driving it, or
like you might be working with an outside producer, but everyone kind of defers to you as like the internal producer with the group, like
a visionary in a sense.
Like you know where it's going. Like you have that 3 steps ahead kind of feeling for the music aspect of it, as far as like choreography, as far as like visual elements. You're thinking that far ahead, and everyone knows that. So like they might defer to you.
That's a good point. I see what you mean. So I guess so. But I'm still at the same time, I don't know, I kind of stay in this mental place where I'm still, even though I have a vision, I don't feel like I know it all, I don't feel like I'm still receptive, like, okay. And it could curve the vision to another, that's a good point. That's a good suggestion. That's why I'm always, whenever I'm creating music or doing videos, like I'll send it out to the homies. I'll be like, all right, boom,
like you talk about in chapter 16, I think.
Right, of my book. You know what I mean? I'm glad you read it though, Jay.
Is that the point of, isn't that what you talk about in 16 about like not having your, like, that's kind of the point of the song I had you like direct, is like the idea of like, here's your vision, but if you're so blinded by getting to your finish line, you're gonna miss out all this other stuff that comes in that might inform your idea to a place that's beyond your imagination, literally, because it wasn't your idea that's coming in.
Right. No, you hit it on the nose with that. Like, you have to be, there's something that could improve that vision, take it to greater heights, but you have to be receptive. You can't be, like, a good director is gonna, like with an artist, right? I'll tell, okay, boom, what do you want to convey in this? What message are you trying to get out with this? Okay, I want to get this message out. What are some things that you want to pinpoint on, and anything you want? And I just kind of really pick the brain, the brain. So at the end of the day, I'm assisting your vision come to life. Even though it's my vision, it's my vision to manifest your vision. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? It's kind of like,
no, it totally does. Do you find when you're bringing that up with people that maybe that's the first time they've even thought about some of those things?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I get a lot of looks like, man, how you think of that? Right. I was doing a video for one artist, right? He kept saying, I want it in the hood, man. I want it in the hood. I want it grimy. I want it in the hood, right? I'm like, okay, cool. So what are you trying to get at? I'm trying to show the struggle. I'm like, I bet. Okay, boom. So ultimately, you want to get to this. You want to get to this message, right? He said, yeah, that's okay. What feeling you trying to evoke out of the audience? I want them to feel, my pain or what I've been through. I said, okay, so you don't want to go necessarily a cliche route that everyone else is doing. Let's go completely left, but still get this message across, And he was like, okay. So at first he was stubborn about it. I mentioned green screen and stuff. He was like, I don't know, man. I need a grimy. I'm like, trust me, man. Trust me. Then after he seen it, he was like, I get it.
Right.
Because I was like, let's try a scene where, you just writing in the book and you're writing your thoughts, and as you writing, you're rapping, and you know what I'm saying? You really, and that's kind of, it's getting a message across. Plus, he didn't have a budget. I was like, hey man, let's be realistic. But,
pen, composition notebook, great. This shot will cost us $3. We got this. Right. This fits right in with your budget.
Right. You don't have white tigers. We can't get white tigers like you want. You know what I mean? So he wanted all kind of panthers. And I said,
nothing says struggle like a bunch of white tigers surrounding you.
Right. Exactly. So he wanted leopards, all kind of animals. I said, listen, man. So, but after he was ecstatic. He said, man. And then I did like a couple more, and he was ecstatic. He was like, man, you took what I was, my message, in conjunction with your vision, and you just brought it, and he was happy, man. So that's why it's best to sit with people and just find out, pick the brain with, not like, oh, I got this, trust me. Defer to me, I got this, like, nah.
It's kind of a scary thing to dig within yourself and make concrete statements about what you just created. Okay, what did I just do here? What am I saying, really? what is this
Right.
about? Like if you had to explain to someone who had no idea anything about your music or your videos or didn't know you at all, didn't know anything about music at all,
Right.
how would you tell them about this? Like, and I think that's kind of scary to dig within yourself and think like, okay, well, it's about struggle. It's about because then, I mean, at least for me, that was something that I held off on really doing for a long time with our music, because I felt like those elements of struggle, those elements of pain, it's like they're not really problems.
Right.
You know, like for me, those aren't real problems. Like they're like, yeah, I mean, they affect me and they're important in my life, but I mean, to say that here's a problem is, for me, saying that is I feel like kind of fake about it. You know,
right.
like it's.
But you know, the crazy part about it is, I think a lot of times people just respect that. The respect that you're going there, because everything, you know, it's all subjective. You know, it's all relative. So it may not seem like a big problem, but it's a problem to you. And the fact that you're going to them, you know, you're taking an artistic route to convey that message. Like people respect that. Like, okay, like,
yeah, like they see they relate to the vulnerability of it, even if they might not relate to the
actual problem.
Right, the substance. I mean, I don't know. I held off on that for such a long time.
That's something that I was like, when I started just really putting out music, and you know, even the whole theme of Turquoise G Records was like just complete creative expression, like not even caring. Like I'm gonna put this song out, and I don't give a rootin' tootin' scootin' if it's like, what is he talking about? You know, I'm just gonna attack it the way I'm gonna attack it, create the way I want to create, and then along those lines, somebody may relate to it. So a lot of times I didn't hold off. Like I have a new project coming out, and you know, and I'm more in depth of, you know, certain topics. You know, I didn't hold off, but I think it was like sometimes you evolve as an artist and you just, okay, I want to talk about this now. But when you go to that level, it's like, I don't care. I don't care about being judged. Like, I'm getting this out of my system.
I think it is, yeah, a level of maybe not self-confidence, but a level of like knowing yourself and being okay with yourself is kind of needed for that. For a while, and for a while, I actually, it was in part not really the highest sense of self-worth that was keeping me from actually making concrete assessments of what I was doing. But also, that's how I felt art was best ingested. It's like, it's sort of, and it's still sort of true that the creator's vision doesn't really account for a whole lot of why something is important to you. It's like you're the one that makes those associations and brands that to your own experience. Like you are the one experiencing it. Doesn't, and in a way, it sort of doesn't even matter what the person creating it had in mind. It's what you're making of it that's important. And so I felt that for a long time. And so I refused to explain any lyric. I refused to talk about anything of real substance. Like doing interviews was the worst. Because like,
how are you with interviews? It wasn't good. You said,
oh man, but because it's like, so this album of yours, I'm like, yeah. What'd you think? It's like, well, it's not up to me to tell you what you liked about it. Right. It's up to the listener. You know, like I'm not here to tell you what to think.
Right. I know exactly what you mean, because at the beginning, like a lot of times, for a long time, people was like, is it trying to be funny? Is it being serious? I'm confused. Like it was that confusion because I'm just putting out art, and as long as it evokes emotion, I don't care. You know? So if it makes you want to dance, if it makes you want to cry, it makes you want to laugh, it makes you want to, if it's going to, be thought-provoking, as long as it evoked emotion, I didn't care.
Right.
I wasn't in a specific genre. Okay, this right here, I want to evoke, of course, to a certain extent, but for the most part, it was like, I'm just putting it out, and how they take it, they take it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it confused a lot of people. People still confused.
Well, like I was saying before, that's a hook. That's a big hook, man.
Right. Yeah.
It wasn't until it wasn't until that record that I did with the video you directed on it where I really started taking that kind of deep dive seriously.
Right.
Because I felt like, you're doing this thing. Why? Why are you doing this thing? If you don't have an answer yourself, then why should anyone else care? So like from then on, I kind of made a point to not necessarily to censor myself as I was working on something, because I do think you need to have there's no one going to pay attention to this. This is just all about me doing the thing as pure as possible. Mm-hmm. But later on, you need a reason that you're putting your name on it and showing it to people, I think. I mean,
right.
Even if it is like, this is just for man, I made this because it's fun for me to dance to. Like, that could be it. It's fine. It's totally cool. But
don't think too hard. It's cool.
No,
it's
I mean,
cool.
so it doesn't everything.
Right.
I mean,
that's what you're telling them, right?
Yeah,
right.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't necessarily have to be like, you're not trying to alter the course of human history with something. I mean, it's just, you need a reason that you're doing it, though. Like, what is that thing? I try to think about, like the most confrontational European press of like this. So your new album, why? And like, okay, when I'm talking to that person, what's my answer? Like, seriously, I mean, it's ridiculous, but when you think about it, it's sort of a fair question. Like, why? Why am I doing this?
Did you ever have a interviewer that kind of like got on your nerves?
I mean, no, nothing
in that realm. Like, ask you like just real persistent, trying to get an answer out of you. Would it come to a question like that?
Oh yeah, maybe early on when it was obvious I wasn't going to tell somebody what a lyric meant. Just like the journalist would just like come like okay, and then like another like 2 questions later circle back to the same thing in a sly way, and like that would happen 3 or 4 times, and then they would just give up.
Like, I know your strategy.
Yeah, trying to wear me down. I mean, now I don't care, but like earlier on, it was.
Was that more of was it intentional? Was you on your artsy tip? Like, listen, I don't have to explain to you.
I think it was.
Or was it like you really just didn't know?
I think it was, in part is because that's what I felt about art. That's the way people should read, listen, view, experience. So I didn't want to be the person telling them anything. But also in part because I just didn't feel like what I had to say was all that important. In the grand scheme of things, I guess I was holding up what I was saying to an expectation that was completely unrealistic, and I felt like kind of fake about that. Right. I mean, I've worked hard to let that go. Right. And now I'm at a place where I feel like, yeah, it's okay. I can just say this, and I like this. Not everyone else is. I'm under no illusions that everyone's gonna like this, but maybe the right people will find it and like it. Like, that's cool.
Right. And we really relate in that sense, Jim, because I can't do the fake thing, man. If I can't do it, man. Because
I think people read right through that. Like, if you're chasing, the fastest way to turn somebody off is to chase their approval. And musically, if you're doing that, people see right through that. Right. No one's going to make a real lasting connection to that.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And I've always been that kind of person, like, approval, I don't care. I just put it out. If you like, you like. You don't, you don't. I'm not chasing no approval. I'm like, crossing my face. Please, did you? You know, I mean, more so when my fans give back that energy, of course, that's priceless, you know. But initially, when I'm making stuff, all right, I'm just gonna put that thing out. But that's the art of, you know, of what we do, you know.
I think your fans,
we wouldn't be us.
I think your fans can see through that. Mm-hmm. You know, the people that have heard what you do and they find something in it they can relate to and are coming along for the ride. They can hear when you're like, you owe it to them to be true to yourself, I feel.
Right.
And that could take you down any number of wacky, crazy roads. But in a way, you're doing
they
that.
Just respect the journey.
Yes, you're doing that for yourself, but you're doing that for yourself to do right by your fans.
Right. You're genius, Jim. Genius.
I surprise myself sometimes, I guess.
I
would disagree with the genius part, but I was thinking about something in your book where you were talking about finding that connection of like, I think about, I feel this thing and oh my gosh, I've discovered how I can make this thing real, and holding on to that experience when you feel struggle and when you feel like you're just not getting a break.
Right.
And I was wondering about that actual exercise, like using that actual exercise when you come up on smaller struggles like writer's block, or like you need like one last verse of a lyric, and it's just and it's keeping you, it's taunting you, it's playing with you, like kind of go back to that feeling of like, okay, well, why am I doing this? Like what's that? Like summon that and forget about whatever expectations might be in your head.
Yeah, I find times even when I'm doing a hook or like that last lyric or that last, you know, I'm thinking, all right, I'm gonna think back, and once I do that, you end up not thinking as hard because you can find yourself overthinking. I think as artists, we do that we could find ourselves doing that, overthinking all the time, and you just gotta have that switch, that switch to, you know, that button to press, give you that balance. Like, all right, look, it's not that serious. You know, people are going to respect the fact that you even went there. So, however the lyric doesn't mean as much as you think, or how you express it. You know, as long as you saying it. So there's a lot of times I find myself overthinking, and I'll go back to that one little, I call it, you know, Peter Pan, you find your marbles.
Yeah.
You're happy for us. Okay, you know what? And then it'll come easy. Okay, boom.
Yeah. I mean, I know that. Right. The overthinking is like, you're trying to hold on to this thing so tightly, and like, you just need to kind of like a much...
Just chill, right? Just chill. And sometimes that's why it's good to have, the people around you that those positive vibes, and just the people around you that just keep it authentic. Because sometimes people tell me, yo, Floss, you overthinking, man. They gonna like it the way you had it. You ain't gotta rewrite it. Like, you think so? That's it. You good, bro. Right? So that's always a blessing too. That's very important.
Like, because of all those disciplines going on in your head, like one informs another, and it seems like there's a lot of, like, creativity isn't necessarily a huge problem for you because you can switch to one discipline or another if you run into a wall. Like, do you notice? Like, what do you do writing lyrics if you're, I mean, besides overthinking, like, is there anything you do to prepare so when the actual writing part comes around, you can connect the dots? Like, I guess, is there any like preparation things you do for the lyric side of things, like keeping conditioning in like body movement?
Right.
You can do like scales on a guitar or piano. You can do all kinds of physical training to keep conditioning for choreography and dance. But for like writing lyrics, there's no easier thing that you can do to keep conditioning for being a lyricist, I think. Like, is there any sort of like preparation that you do for that, or any kind of exercises you do for that?
Because, for the most part, art imitates life and just real life experiences. So the fact that I just try to keep myself open-minded all the time, constantly, like, I'm like a sponge. I'm always learning. So it's kind of like my brain is always like creating in a sense. So if I'm one time, like for instance, I was pumping my gas the other day, right? And one time, and it was making like this kind of like noise. It was like gluk, 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 or something like that. And I just kind of was thinking that, and I thought I was hearing it off the gas pumping a beat. And I just go to my phone. Gluk, gluk. Gluk, gluk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's just really about there's no real thing I mean, of course, practice is always one thing. You always keep writing and, of course, exercising, vocabulary, looking up different words and, the thesaurus, what is this? Okay, what's another way of saying this word? How many syllables are this? And it could fit in this way, listening to greats, listening to other great artists and just being inspired. So I think the key is just being open-minded and not feeling that whatever your art is at this particular moment is the end all be all. Like being open to know that you could evolve and being comfortable with that,
Right.
Being comfortable with the fact that you could come out with something that may not be something you would have done last year, but it's okay. You have to be open-minded about it. Some people are just real, sometimes as artists, you're just kind of stuck in this, even though we out the box, we can be out the box in a box, Yeah. And like, no, I'm used to doing it this way. And it's just like, no, why not? Why not hit a different kind of riff? All right. You don't really do a lot of melodies. Try this kind of melody, try this kind of attack the verse this way instead of doing it. If I, even like with slow songs, all right, try fast, 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 slow, fast, 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 slow, instead of dun, 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 just experiment, not being afraid to experiment. And I think if you have that mindset, you're always gonna absorb. My opinion, that's right. What I think. You're always gonna absorb and just always have that notepad and that recorder on deck. That's what I do. I got like 1 million songs in my recorder, and I just hit up the homies like, Slice, what you think about this? Or you know what I mean? So
you have a group chat where you're sending gloop gloop.
I bet it. That's why shout out to my team. I love the people that I'm surrounded with, but they're it's the fact that you could be open-minded, and just receptive to some of my ideas. Be like, what are you talking about? But I have people around me like, all right, we know you crazy. It's not. That's how I respect you, Jim. So thank you so much. Even with the video, when I presented, you was like, listen, do what you do, and just do you. Whatever creative comes to you, and trust me, you're good. You know, and the fact that you were trustworthy with that, you trust me with that. Thank you. I was so appreciative. So I'm always appreciative of people that do that. So.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like. Why would I tell you to do something that why am I coming to you if I don't want like what I'm getting, like you got a thing. Like why am I going to get in the way of your thing? Like I'm just, I thought like that's, I'm going to give you what I know about the song and what it's about. Like fill in the question marks that you were talking earlier about what you want out of an artist. And I'm just gonna let you do your thing. Cause like, that's why I'm coming to you for your thing. So like, go for it.
And initially that's what's crazy. Like when I first, it's funny you mentioned that because when I had that right at the beginning when I was writing that treatment, I was speaking to my homies, they're like, Jim came to you for a reason. So just, it's like, okay, what did you think they would dig if I do like, he came to you for a reason. So, and I have to, even when I'm doing different features on people's records, like, all right, they come to you for a reason. So just do what you do. And as artists, we get lost in the sauce sometimes, we overthink it sometimes, right?
When you're talking about getting shot down at auditions, I think that's the wrong game to play. Right. Like what trying to fit in, trying to be something. It's kind of the wrong game to play, man. Because I think what's really going to translate to people is character, is personality, is a sense of perspective, a worldview. Right. Like that's what people are going to really latch onto.
No, that's true, and it took me. It took, but when you're especially when you're young, coming up as an artist. You have this kind of mold that you're taught to fit into. All right, you have to do this. You have to audition. You have to, and it took me a while to realize, like, okay, I just gotta be myself, and I have to take a route where I just gotta be myself, and the people that's gonna learn to appreciate it are gonna learn to appreciate it. But as far as me trying to fit in a specific mold, and it wasn't for me, and it could break you down. I mean, you know how it is, Jim. It could be like, wait, what?
Right.
Them dance auditions stuff were terrible. I'm like, all right,
right, because you take it personally.
Right. So it took me a while because, like I said, you're conditioned to have this mindset that auditioning and being accepted is the only way to be successful. And that for a long way, that's what I thought. Then one day I was like, I gotta figure something out, man, because this is not working out.
I think in art, but also just in life in general, when you're placing your sense of self-worth on outside validation, like that's just completely unsustainable. Like you're never gonna get the thing that you really want if that's your mindset. Never.
You hit it on the money. Never. And that's why I'm appreciative of this vibe I have. My mindset is more so. I'm just like, I'm always in a perpetual state of,
right?
Because when I was trying hard, auditioning for this and dance all this, it made me feel like I couldn't dance. And that's why, when I started branching off, I slowed down on that, and I just really started, getting into film and into music, and that's why. Did I mention I like to dance? That song is called "Did I Mention I Like to Dance?" Because before that, I didn't really, dance in the videos, and I was just more so chilling. I was kind of doing a little bop.
Right.
And then Whatcha was like, yo, dude, you got to go off in this one. You have to go off.
You went off too. Like when I first saw the Jeep stuff, I did have that sense of like, what am I watching? Like, is this, because it's like, it's so, I mean, like it's so over the top in
super abstract.
Yeah. It's abstract. Mm-hmm. And it's such an amplified thing. It's an amplified reality in a way. But then when you get to like Dimension I Like to Dance, it's like you could tell. And actually before did I mention I Like to Dance? Like I could tell that there was some real thought behind it all, because like every song had its own choreography. I could tell that. Every song has a hook. Every hook has its own dance. It's like, and the videos are well put together and obviously took thought and time. Right. How you guys look is intentional. Everything is intentional about like. So there's this. Oh my God, is this for real? But
you get it.
Exactly. But the real hook is, yes, this is so real. Like this is intentional. This is focused. There's a real purpose behind this, and that is even a crazier hook. When on the surface, it's like, what is this? And right below that, it's like, this is so real. And did I mention I like to dance? Is like, what? Like, this is so real. Like this is like they're not messing around. They're not playing. This guy has serious chops.
Yeah, I think that was the video right there that kind of changed people's perspective. A lot of people, they're like, wait a minute. I was getting a lot more interviews after that. So wait a minute, hold on, you really dance? I was saying, yeah, I was choreographing for people and stuff like that. And, and as I said, did I mention?
Right.
So I was like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you.
Yeah. My dance experience is like I think when I was 8, I took breakdancing lessons for a summer.
Oh, for real? Oh yeah, you gotta do something, man. A windmill or something, man.
Oh my god, really? No, I do remember the mechanics of the forward moonwalk. So when you were doing a breakdown about the 3-point glide for the dance, I was like, right. I kind of like, oh yeah, I can kind of see what he's doing because I remember the mechanics of that. But like as far as me actually doing that, not a chance. Not a chance.
I'm saying, dude, you probably dope on the low. You probably be in your room just like, oh, right. Damn, man.
I guess I got time. I could work on my 3-point glide.
That's dope, man. That's dope. It's all about practice. I think anyone can do it. Like,
yeah.
I started late. Late, relatively late compared to a lot of some kids will be starting at. They'll be like 5, 6, 7, you know? I was like a teenager. I was like 15, 14, 15. And we were playing football, sewer to sewer football in the Bronx in New York. And tossed the ball. I'm running for it. Boom, right in my eye. And I couldn't leave. The doctor said, all right, you have to stay in for the summer because my eye was like shot red. I couldn't look at sunlight. So I just started watching a bunch of music videos and practicing. And then I guess it was a hidden talent. And one day, it's funny because my freshman year of high school, whatever, I wasn't really, dancing. No one knew me for that. And then my sophomore year, I came in like gliding and popping and all of this. They were like, where'd this come from, dude? Like, what? Like, what?
Right.
So yeah, practice, I guess. So definitely,
I need to bring out a full body mirror for my bedroom then, so I can.
Oh man, I'm telling you, man, you're a talented dude. You can do it if you want to. I believe it, Jim. I believe it.
Well, maybe our next video will showcase my dancing next year.
Listen, hey.
That would blow people's minds. That would be definitely one way to get people to question what's going on, for sure, is if there was a
It's documented. People are like, hey, Jim, remember you said you gonna bust out those moves, man? You said in the interview, Jim, where the moves at?
Oh, man.
It's documented.
Okay, well, you'll be the first person I come to for tips.
Hey, man, I appreciate that. Always honored and humble. You know what I'm saying? Always honored and humble, man.
Hey, well, thank you so much for hanging out and making time to chat with me today. I really appreciate it. This is really cool.
Jim, man, thank you for having me on this wonderful show, man. I appreciate you, brother.
Awesome.
Appreciate you, man. Everything you've done. You the man, Jim.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Flynt Flossy, my favorite rapper. It's interesting how aligned our perspectives are when it comes to like the preparation, the process, the kind of mindset you need to be in to be fully effective. And if you're looking for a walkthrough on how to do the 3-point glide, you need to check out the Flow with the Floss Part 2, where he walks you through it. It's pretty impressive. You can't watch that dance instruction video and tell me that he doesn't put in the work. There's certain type of people that will just do the work because they feel that sense of reward from incrementally getting just a little bit better from the time they put in. And he's one of them. God, if we ever do shows again, I'm going to get so many people coming up to me and telling me they want to see me breakdance now. It's not going to happen.